Has the market topped already for spring? What are we expecting for prices in 2026 this summer and beyond? We're going to talk about this and so much more in this month's market update video. Before we jump right in, friendly reminder to like this YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below. It really helps us out and the YouTube algorithms. All right, before we dive in, let's talk about what happened in June of 2026. Interestingly, we had actually a spike in sales volume. Volumes were up 9% year over year. Now, it's nothing to get too excited about because last June was like the fourth lowest volume on record for the past 23 years. And this one was obviously ahead of it. But still, it is a far cry from the volumes that we were seeing pre-COVID, 2017, 2018, 2019. Like big drop in volumes. But still, it's like, it's encouraging to see that we saw some decent volumes in June. And part of me thinks that, the weather might have had something to do with it. Like, do you remember May was a little bit cooler and rainier than usual? And so what we saw was a delay in listings happen towards the latter half of May and into early June. So I think that spiked volumes a little bit. But again, is this a new trend? Like, I would say no, but what we're seeing here is the tail end of the spring market. Like usually the spring market ends sometime in late May, early June, and I think we're basically at that point, and we're now into summer market. So really, July and August are going to be quite low volume wise, relatively speaking. Now, active listings, which is also an encouraging sign for you real estate bulls, is that it was down 13.5%. Does that mean that the market is back and everything is selling above, list price into multiple offers? No, that's not what it means. But, what we're seeing here is that there's some relative, like very little, minor relative market strength. So we're seeing a little bit of a healthier market than what we saw last year. I still think we've got lower prices coming. I don't think this is like we've hit the bottom. I do feel that we're going to see continued weakness, but we're going to see some ups and downs along the way. And if you remember what happened in 1990, not to suggest that what's happening now has anything to do with what happened in 1990, but that bear market lasted somewhere around 7.5, 8 years, right? Like from peak to trough. So it's like, we're only here on, year 4 or whatever, right? So am I here suggesting that we got 3 more years of weakness? No. But what I'm saying is there isn't really an immediate catalyst to turn things around and turn things around quickly. Now, obviously the big catalyst is interest rates, and they're still somewhat elevated, historically speaking, especially pre-COVID. Now, we need inflation to not be as sticky. And obviously, with oil prices elevated and everything that's happening in the Middle East, that's still ongoing, unfortunately, that is providing a lot of uncertainty for our central bank. So I expect more of the same is long the short of it is. And it's certainly encouraging to see the listings are down, year over year. Now, average price is one of everyone's favorite topics. What's happening with prices? And unsurprisingly, they're down 4%. That doesn't mean that your house or condo is down 4%, but on the average for GTA wide, prices are down. Now, what's interesting is freeholds in Toronto, 416 proper, they're actually the strongest relative asset class when it comes to real estate in the GTA. I mean, certain markets outside of sort of the Toronto area, like Markham, Peel, Halton are showing signs of weakness. Durham's a little bit showing a little bit more signs of life, but again, prices are down, and I think, as I said, we're going to see some continued weakness. Now, average price month over month. This is an interesting stat. Usually, prices peak in May, and then they decline ever so slightly in June. And that's exactly what we saw again this year. Prices were up a little bit, 1%. It's like a rounding error, basically, in May and June, and then came down a little bit in June. Now, usually the properties that sell in June versus May are the properties that have been a little bit on the market for longer than they were in May, because, as I said earlier, I think there was a little bit of a delay in the spring market, and that houses were listed and condos were listed later on in the month just to take advantage of better weather, and I think that's impacted a little bit here on price. So down 1%, nothing to get too excited either way. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this month's market update video. We're going to be back again next month to see how July is treating the real estate market. And, basically, I expect this summer to be quieter than years past, but, time will tell. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you again next month for our market update video. Thanks so much.